Hey guys, thanks for coming to it's going to be mine and Josh's first year anniversary party. It's our first full year of marriage, running the GEDP together. It's been a different ride. I hope you're going to figure out tonight that it's a little bit different of a ride. Got a really cool event on the backside of this wall waiting for you guys. It's got fixed really nice. Hope we have a little fun, turn the annual meeting, which has historically been okay, but not necessarily a fun one, into something. It's also a good point just to kind of celebrate. I think we've had an excellent year. Josh is going to give you a rundown on some of that stuff. I think his favorite line, I'm going to steal it for a minute, is it's a good time to be in economic development in Galveston, Texas. And I have to agree, a real good time. Just real quick before I hand it over to him, thanks to Maureen, Pat, and the Grands for the use of this facility. And I want our guys with the band brought in nothing. She's left them a sound guy. He's up in the bird house up there talking to them. Everybody's thinking they're real big cheese right now. The stage looks great. Thanks to Hometown Bank for setting up all the gaming. All the game tables came through Alan Rasmussen's bunch. GRG Galveston Restaurant Group's got the food. Del Papa's got the booze. Terracon's got the music. So that's even funnier because that's my competition. Terracon and I compete across the country, but we're combined to bring y'all music. So, this is what do you call it? Middle of the road stuff. This is meeting in the Central Isle. So with that, I will give it over to Josh and he'll kick this meeting off.
We also want to thank all of our raffle sponsors who donated generously to our raffle. We want y'all to win prizes tonight, so thanks to everyone who donated. With that, we're going to go straight into our executive committee elections. And we have a great slate of candidates who we are presenting. And so we have Mitchell Willingham from the Tremont House, Stephen Maxwell, who apologizes for not being able to be here with Frost Bank, Brandon Baumgarten with Texas First Bank, and Jason Fletcher with Hensel Phillips. So with that, can I get an up and down vote on do we accept our slate of candidates? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Same sign? All right, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for joining us for our executive committee. You all have a copy of the GEDP annual fiscal report in front of you. It's thin, and so this is our annual budget for this year. Unless someone steps up and writes a big check tonight, we are not where we want to be financially. We're working through that by, this year is going to be a big membership and business development push. We need to get more local members involved in the GEDP. A second element is we need more events. So on May 21st, we're going to have our Economic Resilience Summit, and then we're going to also have our Fall Economic Development Summit. And both those, we're hoping to use to bring in some revenue to the organization, while also expounding Galveston's benefits. With that, I would like to go ahead and get a vote on the budget approval. So all in favor of accepting the budget as proposed? Aye? Aye. All opposed, same sign? Thank you. And now we're going to go into my executive director's report. So first off, I want to start by welcoming all of our new members. So O'Connor, commercial tax reduction experts. O'Rourke, strategies, thank you, Teddy. Southwest Paint Company, Immaculate Painting. 111 Electric, Clean Supply Company. Higher Up CFO Services. Yaga's Entertainment, and Metropolis signed up today. And Steve, thank you. Clean Supply Company. The GEDP has had a good year in 2025, and I'm going to talk about our top 3 wins. Biggest win, Jonathan Hale, Davie, 1,200 workers, $500 million. Huge win for Galveston, and Mayor Brown, I want to thank you. It wouldn't have happened without your efforts to make City Council happen when we needed to happen for the TEF grant, and it wouldn't have happened without the Texas Enterprise Fund. So this is a great example of Galvestonians working together to make a magical project like this happen. And the benefits are only starting to begin, and it's a really exciting time to be an economic developer in Galveston. Saks on the seawall, $500 million project, 14-acre development on the seawall. This is the kind of development that any community would be happy to see, and we're glad to see it coming to Galveston. And our third big win is our Economic Development Summit. We had a sold-out summit last year, and we're going to grow the summit this year and make sure that it's even better and reaches and tells more folks the message that Galveston is a great place to do business and a great place to invest. With that, I'm going to go over the GDP work plan. We have 3 primary activities that we're going to be involved in: marketing and attraction, business retention and expansion, and workforce development. When I talk about marketing and attraction, that is the GDP proactively going out and targeting specific industries and businesses and letting them know about Galveston's locational advantages. Some of the ways we do that are we receive requests for information from the state. We take those requests for information from the state and we turn around a marketing document letting folks know about what Galveston can offer in terms of incentives, taxes, our workforce, and everything about Galveston. Other things that we do, we go to site selector conferences and we meet with the consultants who are making the decisions on where to locate their businesses. Business retention and expansion is fundamental to what we do at the Galveston Economic Development Partnership. Every business in Galveston we want to stay here in Galveston, and we want to continue to see them grow and expand. I'll give you a brief example of business retention and expansion. Working in my previous role, I was working with a chemical manufacturer, and unfortunately during COVID, they had one of their warehouses burned down. And the bank called in the note, and the insurance company wasn't going to cover their full loss. They were going to have to roll up shop and leave small town Wharton, Texas. What we were able to do is connect them to financing through the revolving loan fund with the Economic Development Administration. They were able to get a loan, and now they're able to not only keep the 60 people they had employed, but they've expanded to 80 people. And that's the kind of wins we want to bring to Galveston, is we want to make sure that businesses that are having trouble doing business here can not only stay here, but can thrive here. Workforce development. Again, thank you to Gulf Copper and Davey for making this a big part of my job moving forward. We're looking for about 1,200 to 1,800 workers to be working over on Pelican Island in the near future, which is going to be a massive lift, not only for the GDP, but for Galveston College, for Galveston ISD, and for institutions not only here on the island, but in the county and across the region. We're going to be partnering and working with Upskill Houston with the Greater Houston Partnership, College of the Mainland, and all of the other entities that we need in order to meet this workforce demand. A big part of the work is also going to be upskilling. We have a number of residents in Galveston who are not as gainfully employed as they could be. And we're going to be doing the work with our nonprofit community and others to make sure that Galvestonians know about the economic opportunities that are available here in Galveston in the near future. And with that, that concludes my work plan. Moving on, looking at the regional economy, we haven't seen the job growth that we would like to see in 2025. As a matter of fact, job growth has been paltry, even though we have exceeded the national ratio in Metro Houston. Our job growth in 2025 hasn't been as strong as we would have hoped. But our local employment forecast is positive. So we do anticipate in 2026 seeing some upward trends in job growth in the Houston. It's not metro region. It's not as great as we would hope, but the trend lines are positive. Our unemployment rate in the Greater Houston Metro hovers around 4%. Obviously, we had a big spike during COVID where that changed, but that 4% is what's considered by employment experts as full employment, meaning that folks that are looking for a job can pretty much find a job. If 96 out of 100 workers are employed, we've got full employment. The Houston Purchasing Managers Index is another great economic indicator looking at kind of where the economy is going. And I see both some concerning trends and some positive trends in these numbers. I would really like to see the manufacturing line, which is the dark blue, on above that 50% cutoff. And that 50% cutoff is kind of, where whether you're in expansion or contraction economically as a region. The manufacturing for our region has been in decline because of concerns about trade and uncertainty around trade. people don't know what the trade regime is going to be, and it makes them unwilling to invest in manufacturing, especially for export. While our non-manufacturing purchasing has still been going steady. Overall, the index is in a steady expansion. So our metro region continues to grow via the Houston Purchasing Managers Index. We're still in expansion. I still don't like that trend line down to the right, and we'd love to see that trend shoot up. Another big concern for the region is office. We've gone from about 15% vacancy rates pre-COVID to close to 25% vacancy rates in our office post-COVID. And that's not a healthy indicator for where we want our real estate to be. Right now, from what I've told from my broker friends, you can buy a building, an office building in downtown Houston for $15 million, which is very concerning for office as a market moving forward regionally. Housing supply and it is also has hit a lot of trends where we have a lot of supply out there in both locally and Galveston. From speaking with our local realtors, the housing supply is starting to drop off and some of the houses are being sold. But one of my concerns is in industrial, we haven't seen the sustained growth regionally that we would hope. We would like to see these numbers continue to trend upwards in terms of having more supply and downwards in terms of having a lower vacancy rate. Industrial growth is the bedrock of our economy in Houston and the Houston-Galveston region, because for every one primary job, there's 2 to 4 other jobs that are created by that primary job. And so that's why Davies' expansion into Gulf Copper is so vital for what we have going on here in Galveston. Because the economic output of the jobs that Davies is going to create over 7,500 jobs for those 1,200 to 1,800 jobs across the state. And those are going to be our induced and indirect jobs generated by Davie. And so with that, I'm open to any questions that you have about our work plan, kind of what the GDP is doing moving forward, and our economic trends.
What do you feel like the biggest obstacle is for Davie to make sure that the city and the region is prepared?
Workforce. Workforce is going to be a huge challenge for us, not only here in Galveston, but regionally and with the Galveston County. We are going to need to get a lot of folks trained to fill those jobs and fill those roles. Jonathan?
Yes, I would like for you guys to go out in the community. Anybody you know, we're looking for people from about 30 to 50. We're manning up the program management team to build these first 2 icebreakers in Helsinki. That will be managed from here. We need some people. So we've got a few candidates applying. We're out on LinkedIn. We're all over the place looking for these people. These are professional jobs. These aren't the welders. These are professional jobs. So it's we'll probably have to pull them in from somewhere else.
What's the cutoff, 50?
You missed it, Ted.
No, I'm not looking for a job.
I mean, probably, I don't know if there are any HR people in here. I probably shouldn't be having age discrimination. We want somebody who's going to be around to see the program through.
I've got it on there.
Yeah, I'm in trouble now. But if you know of any young professionals here in Galveston, we're already starting. I mean, they pulled the trigger. I don't know if you heard, we were awarded a $3.5 billion job. That's going to be managed through here. And but we need some professionals. I'll probably use a couple of the guys that already work for us. But actually, my brother Leonard's heading that up. So if you know of any young guys, have them visit our website, or gals. I just hired a new program manager's assistant who's local. Grew up here. So, young lady, done a great job so far. But anyhow, we're already starting to look, and these are going to be really good positions. I'm telling you. Anybody that manages money for people better get in there early and start talking to them.
I think that's talking to you, Jason.
Jonathan always is.
Any other questions or comments about what the GEDP is doing or how we plan on moving forward?
You know, just what you mentioned, I know that workforce housing is going to be something that we need to look at in the community here, and I don't want to put it on the spot. Christine, you have probably the largest workforce housing project upcoming. Where are we on that? Would you like to say that?
Everyone, Christine Ryan, Vision Galveston, North Galveston, we acquired the Ellenwood property with 4.452 acres roughly in the middle of urban neighborhood. We've hired architects and bringing on 2 consultants on the housing side. So we hired Harrison Kroger architects to do the adaptive reuse of portions of the building and the green space. And then we're bringing on 2 consultants on the housing side of these. And these would be 20 plus single family homes, 3-2s, 2-2s. That will be available for a few years now. So they will be built to match the aesthetic of the community. They will be maintain long-term affordability, and these will be quality homes. So thank you, Mayor, for putting me on the spot. All day long. But it's part of that. It won't be enough to fill all these jobs, but it's a good start. And we're hoping that we demonstrate what we're capable of doing on that 4.5 acres and the other opportunities for us. Thank you, Mayor.
One of the things that I want to mention is that beyond Davie and Gulf Copper, the Port of Houston land has humongous potential for Galveston and Galveston's economic development. And there's some very exciting prospects looking at that land and the potential development for those 1,200 acres. You're on about 100 acres, aren't you, Jonathan?
Yes.
So that's, if you're looking at a workforce about 12 times the size of that 1,800. So it could be truly transformative to Galveston if we're able to get that Port of Houston land developed. And there's going to be a lot of infrastructure requirements to get that land developed to its fullest and highest and best potential. And so that's another thing that the GEDP is going to continue to work on with the city and the county, TxDOT, other partners around the region, is the infrastructure. Because you cannot have economic development without infrastructure. Yes, Ted?
I'd like to say one thing. I'm not in a position that I was before with the board, being on the board, but I want to commend the pilots and their jobs area. They're one of the new commissioners on the board, and the job that they've done to really bring in business. They have bring in ships at zero visibility. A lot of people don't realize how hard that is, but they have really worked in a partnership with the port to do an excellent job of making our port what it is. One of the things that I'm hoping will come out of the master plan, and it's in there to some degree, something that's on the table right now, that's good for jobs is to do an RFP on the west end to make sure that we stay diversified. Because you have to realize, I mean, the cruise business is terrific, but the cruise business is a single purpose facility that opens at 8, closes at 4. It's just like a public school stadium. These are what, 10 times a year. We gotta make sure we stay diversified out there, and I think with their help, kind of pushing a little bit for the RFP, and Dr. Brown's got a few more months to get that done, but we need to get the RFP on the west end, and there's people out there that will help when those slips are filled in to really bring in cargo. It can also bring in people for Daisy and to help Mr. Hale with his operation. So there'd be such a good influx of impressive job opportunities in Galveston. I think you're right about Port of Houston too. Charlie Jenkins is probably one of the best directors that they've had. He's a Galveston boy. He understands the importance of that 1,200 acres and developing it to a potential game changer with the container terminal, et cetera, with that area.
Galveston's biggest opportunity is its maritime sector. We have a very well-developed healthcare sector. We have a very well-developed recreation and tourism sector. But the opportunities around our maritime sector are tremendous, especially given our need to rebuild our Navy. We have 80 merchant marine ships currently in operation. China has thousands. And you know, the United States needs to rebuild our shipbuilding capability and our naval capability, and Galveston is prime choice, given our location in the Houston metro region and our deep water port access. They're not building more deep water ports very easily. And so we have that advantage, and taking advantage of those locational strategic advantages is what we're going to be doing moving forward. And with that, I don't want to keep y'all from the gaming tables too much longer, so you are free to socialize, and we really appreciate you attending our annual meeting, and appreciate y'all understanding that we're trying to keep it quick and brief. Yes, Marie?
Let me encourage you to use the staircase that's right out here in the hallway, and I'll open the door, and you will then go straight up into the theater, go down the hallway behind the boxes, and you'll be on the stage. And there's some interesting looking